Right, hi guys, welcome back to another episode of The Cruel Wall from the Japanese Grand Prix. And if anyone was in any doubt that the championship wasn't over and done with yet, like I've been saying for the past God knows how many races, it's definitely over now, isn't it? Let's all be honest now. Hamilton can win the championship at Austin if it all goes tits up once again for Sebastian Vettel. And I'm pretty sure it will, because that's just Ferrari way now, it seems. They managed to snatch defeat from the jaws of victory, so well done to them. So, without further ado, let's kick off with the race winner, which is Lewis Hamilton. Now, qualified pole and won the race. Only just though towards the end, but I'm not really going to go into Hamilton that much this time around. What I am going to go into is the deluded Hamilton fans that feel that it's appropriate to come onto the last time's Cruel Wall at Malaysia and call me an arsehole and say that I have no right to criticise drivers or score them. Because I said I didn't like Lewis Hamilton and I'd score him 9 points. Now, to the people that get the idea, they watch it because they enjoy it because I take the piss out of drivers. But you Hamilton fans have not quite grasped it yet. This is probably about the 4th run-in I've had with a Hamilton fan now. And you're not getting the idea of what the Cruel Wall's all about, clearly. Now, I'm not bothered by it. If you want to keep calling me a twat in the comments section and telling me that I've got no right to score points, then feel free, because I don't really care. But I know things that can annoy you greatly now, because every time I do something that slightly offends Hamilton fans, you're straight in there ready to rip people apart. I've not had it with any other driver this series, not even Palmer. You know, there's bound to be some Palmer fans out there, but they just keep themselves quiet. But Hamilton fans just can't keep their nose out of things. So, to the genuine Hamilton fans, I am sorry for this, but to the deluded Hamilton fans, oh, I'm going to piss you off even more. So, Lewis Hamilton for the Japanese Grand Prix, nothing to do with his race, just to do with his deluded fans, is going to get minus 44, because that's his blessed number. So, minus 44 for Lewis Hamilton. Don't fuck around with the Cruel Wall, because the Cruel Wall will bite you back. It stands for nothing. Chill the fuck out, will you? Alright. Next up, Max Verstappen. Well done. P2. Almost won the race there. Could have been so close, but of course Felipe Massa had to get in the way like he did in Russia and Spain earlier on this year. So, it seems to be a trend with Massa letting Hamilton through. I don't know, I'm just calling conspiracy theories now because I can, who gives a shit. But no, it was genuinely a great race to see. I mean, obviously Hamilton got backed up by Alonso and Massa, which put Verstappen onto the back of him, and then Hamilton just had an easier time through the traffic. Not like Verstappen, unfortunately. Had to wait for Massa to finish through the S section in the end of Sector 1, which that was it then. And unfortunately, yeah, denied of a great finish potentially once again, but not to worry, still a great race by Verstappen. That Red Bull car didn't break down. He has proven that he's faster than his teammate, because that's twice in 2 races now that he has beaten Ricciardo by quite a decent margin. 8 seconds this time, I think it was around 12 last time. So, you know, Verstappen proving he is a worthy driver. And had it not been for all the bad luck this season, with reliability and getting taken out in incidents that wasn't his fault, he would have been well up there in the championship and would have been beaten Ricciardo hands down, I imagine. So a great drive by Verstappen nonetheless, and yes, Max Verstappen, you can get another 10 points, because it's good to see Red Bull are back, and Verstappen is back, more importantly. Daniel Ricciardo P3, so the second double podium in 2 races for the Red Bull team, so good stuff there. And P3, yeah, like I said, almost 10 seconds off Hamilton, 8 seconds off of his teammate. A strong effort, though, to hold off Bottas at the end there. Bottas was hard charging and coming, but just held him off, just fended him off, so that has to be commended by Ricciardo. But, of course, outshone by his teammate. And, yeah, but nonetheless, still an impressive race by Daniel Ricciardo to get the double podium for the Red Bull team. So, Daniel Ricciardo, you can score 8 points. More impressive than last time, I feel. More impressive than last time. So 8 points. Next up was Valtteri Bottas. Quiet race from him. He did qualify P2, but of course had the 5th place gearbox penalty, which put him... Where did he start for that? I think it was P6, because then Raikkonen had a penalty, and fuck knows. This penalty system just pisses me off now. Really does. Sort it out. But anyway, nonetheless, it did gain a couple of places, obviously, from wherever he started to finish P4. But I mean, in a complete shadow again against his teammate. Of course, it could have been different had he started P2 instead of P6 or wherever he was. But yeah, I mean, it's almost like he's just given up now. And that's a shame to see, really. Probably focusing his attention on next year now. He's got a Mercedes deal for next year, of course, so maybe he's looking to next year to attack for the title. But he is only something daft like about 12 points behind Vettel now in the Drivers' Championship, so he could actually get second in this championship easily now, which is bizarre to think that only a few races ago we were saying, oh yeah, it's a Hamilton and Vettel for the championship and everyone else is out of it. And now it's just Hamilton and everyone else can get second. So yeah, it's really, really weird to see how the pendulum swings just so much in this championship. Of course, like everyone says, it's not over till it's over, but when Hamilton can mathematically win the championship, this next race at Austin, yeah, it's over, isn't it? But anyway, back to Bottas. Yeah, in the shadow of his teammate, qualified P2, gearbox penalty wasn't his fault. A bit of a quiet race, really. I think he should have got past a Red Bull, personally speaking, especially Ricciardo, but didn't quite do it. So Valtteri Bottas, you are going to get 6 points. 6 points on the cruel wall for Valtteri Bottas. Next up, Kimi Raikkonen qualified a really, really shite P6 and then had a 5-place grid penalty to suit that. So started P10, I think, because then Alonso had a penalty. You see, it just annoys me. It's not even a 5-place grid drop, is it? But anyway, so started around 10th. And yeah, came through to finish 5th, but he got pushed off at the start by Hulkenberg, which was just a racing move, no problem. So he dropped down to about 14th or 15th early on in the race. So did well to recover till P5 in the end. But he was a whopping 22 seconds off of Bottas. So that is quite a big way, that. And he didn't lose that much time going wide. He lost a few places, yeah, but, you know, but just a bad weekend in all again for Ferrari. So Kimi Raikkonen, yeah, I think you genuinely could have done better this weekend, but of course I am aware of the gearbox penalty, which didn't help you. Got you sandwiched in the middle of the pack, which meant that you had to fight with the animals. But yeah, Kimi Raikkonen, I think that is going to have to be 5 points. Was good, but could have been a whole lot better. I think, you know, you could have been on the back of Bottas and challenging for a podium, but instead you were just all on your own. Next up was the two Force India boys of Ocon and Perez. And yes, still disqualified from a cruel wall, so that's not going to change. But I'd just like to make a note now that I thought the team radio was hilarious from Perez when he's like, can I attack Ocon? And they're like, no, Checo. No, you stay behind him. You stay behind him. That's a team order, Checo. You stay behind him. Yes, but I'm so much faster. No, stay behind him. Not having all of this shit no more. So it was good to see that Force India stood the ground, and then Perez was like, why? Why do I have to stay behind him? Why can't I attack him? He's like, you seem to have forgot the past 2 races at Belgium and, of course, Azerbaijan, where you both ruined points and podium potentials. But yeah, nonetheless, it was great to see that Force India did abide and stick to the team orders and went, no, Checo, you're behind him, you can stop behind him, pal. Good stuff. Enjoyed it. Had a little chuckle to myself over that one. And yes, brought home P6 and P7 because they weren't allowed to crash into each other. So it's amazing what they can do. That's a solid 14 points there. So yeah, good stuff. Force India, you did good. On the cruel wall, however, they're still disqualified. So Ocon and then Perez. Nil point. Kevin Magnussen P8 and Grosjean P9, the two Haas cars rounding out the tail end of the top 10. And yeah, Magnussen did alright actually, did a good race. Did a good move on Massa. I know people have criticised him for his, like, the way he overtakes, and like Malaysia I criticised him because he was squeezing and weaving and being a general dick. But here, that move on Massa I thought was perfectly fine. I thought it was a perfectly solid, legitimate move and a hard pass, and he did deserve to get that P8 place. So a good drive by Magnussen. A solid effort, and this is what I want to see for Magnussen. I like him because he's a racer, but at Malaysia he just overstepped the mark too much. Whereas this time it was perfect. He was racing and he did well. He did a good job. It was hard. It was fair. A bit of contact, but you know, someone's got to liven the race up, haven't they? You know what I mean? So why not be K-Mag, eh? So Kevin Magnussen, a solid drive for you, and some points for Haas. This is only the second time Haas have ever had a double points finish in Formula 1, the other one being Monaco earlier this year. And now, so yeah, good stuff. I mean, of course, they had the waste of talent Esteban Gutierrez last year, so, you know, they were never going to score points with him, and they didn't. So anyway, Kevin Magnussen, you did a solid drive, and I'm going to score you a solid 8 points. And of course, Roman Grosjean, his teammate, had the crash in qualifying, which was unfortunate. That's more damage for the Haas team. Obviously, Malaysia free practice wasn't Grosjean's fault, but this time it was in the practice session. In the qualifying session. So he got eliminated in Q1. So started about 16th, and then there's penalties, so he probably started about 4th. Fucking penalties, I've no idea. Anyway, yeah, so Grosjean did make a good effort and did climb places. How many, I don't know. Don't really care, to be honest. But yeah, did a good job, and then obviously came on the radio and was like, can I attack? Can I get past? Can I get past K-Mag? And they're like, no, you can stop behind him as well, pal. We've seen what happens with Force Indias. It's not happening to us. So yeah, they did a good job. Great team orders. Grosjean, you're going to get less than your teammate because he outraced you and you did crash in qualifying, leaving a late night for the lads once again. But solid 6 points, I think, Neil. A solid 6 points for... My computer's turned itself off once again. But a solid P9 for the mighty Roman Grosjean. So next up was, of course, Felipe Massa scraping the final point just from Fernando Alonso. That was the battle that the lead battle got involved in, and it ended up ruining the pair of them. So yeah, the two battles just came together, one for the final point, one for the win, and it ended up just fucking the pair of the battles up, and that was it. So yeah, unfortunate there, but yeah, Massa did hold on over Alonso to take that P10. A bit of a bad race by Williams standards. It looked like Massa had the pace for the top 7, top 8, and then obviously just really struggling with pace, and the Haas cars got through. So yeah, a bit of a quiet race for Massa, but lucky to score 1 point. It could have been easily none, but there we go. So Felipe Massa, I'm going to score you 6 points for your race. I think they've stopped development on the car, so that's probably why it's off the pace, but you did alright to scrape the final point. Next up was Fernando Alonso. Got caught behind Stroll after the pits, and that really ruined both McLaren Honda's races. Greatly. It really ruined them. So yeah, that was an unfortunate way for Alonso to get caught behind him, and yeah, it did in the end manage to recover to almost scrape a point, but couldn't quite do it. Did well to start from the back of the grid. He had 35 place grid penalty, I feel, after qualifying 10th, so not too bad, but of course that's all for nothing. So the car pace and performance was there, but unfortunately just the race strategy today didn't play out with the cars he got stuck behind. But Alonso, a solid drive nonetheless, and I'm going to score you 5 points. Average race. Strategy partly to blame, and your penalty as well. So I think you'd have been in points other than that. Next up was Jolyon Palmer. Or should I say, jolly well gone, Palmer, because that was his final race of this season, of this year, hopefully forever in Formula 1. Jolyon Palmer, final race, P12 for the Renault team. He will be replaced by Sainz now for the next races to the end of the season, so that's going to be interesting to see how Sainz gets on there. But yes, Palmer, finito, gone. And that is all I'm going to write on the crawl wall for his final race of Japan. Gone. Gone with the wind, Jolyon Palmer. So long. It's been nice criticising you on the crawl wall, and all the best. Anyway, next up, Pierre Gasly. Almost was there around in the points, was doing alright, and then he flat spotted his tyres, trying to defend from Hulkenberg, had to make an additional pit stop, and that was it. Game over for Gasly, unfortunately. It was a solid race. Obviously, we didn't have his teammate to compare with because Sainz was off on lap 1. But yeah, Gasly did an okay race for his second time in a Formula 1 car. He has been around Japan before, so that gave him a little bit more of an advantage this time around. But yeah, not as solid as the previous debut, I don't think, as the last race. So Pierre Gasly in the place of Kvyat. This is going to get a messy crawl wall, isn't it, for next weekend when Kvyat comes back and then Sainz moves to Renault and then Palmer's gone. So fuck knows what I'm going to do for that. But we'll see. We'll worry about that when we get there, won't we? That's Futures Josh's problems, and that guy's a dick. So anyway, nonetheless, Pierre Gasly, I think that is 6 points. It was racing clean and tidy once again, just that lock up, and that ruined it for him. Ruined a chance of points. He could have easily got past Massa, I feel, because Massa was really struggling. Could have snuck through when the Hassers did. Next up was Stoffel Van Dorn, and yeah, a really quiet race for him. He got stuck behind Stroll as well as Alonso, and then made an additional pit stop, which just ended all hopes for him of getting any points. So a bit of a bad race for Stoffel. Did well in qualifying. He qualified 11th, just missing out on Q3, but probably started about first. I don't care. And yeah, but nonetheless, P14 in the end. Not a great race. McLaren, Honda's last time at Japan as a partnership with the Japanese, obviously, engine supplier. So, unfortunately, Stoffel, I can only give you 3 points for that one. Strategy was to play a part, but that second pit stop really cost you. I don't know if that was strategy. I think you could have just worn your tyres out a bit too quickly because Alonso managed it. And last of the finishers is Pascal Wehrlein, and I really don't understand what Sauber are doing with their pit stop strategies. I haven't got a clue. He'd done about 3 pit stops before the first virtual safety car came out after the safety car, and it's just like, why? It was like a minute behind the McLarens. And you're just like, what's happened? What has happened? I'm genuinely baffled by the strategies that Sauber have been playing. I mean, the first safety car at the first 3 laps of the race, you know, I just don't understand why they pitted him as the safety car was coming in. Why not pit him the lap earlier and let him catch back up to Crocodile again? I mean, I'm not an expert, but that's just my strategy. And then he's done like 1 additional pit stop compared to everyone else that race. And he's 2 laps down. And he got lapped by the next car, which was Van Dorn, so he even got lapped by for the 14th place car. And Sauber weren't like this at the start of the season. I really don't know what's gone wrong. I hope they're focusing on their development for the next year's car, but they need to get their act together because that was pretty poor this weekend. So Pascal Wehrlein, you're going to get just 3 points, just because I can't rate you. I honestly can't rate you. Anyway, first of the retirements was... or last of the retirements, I should say, depending on how I look at it. First on this list, anyway, the one that did the most laps before going out was Lance Stroll. Poor race weekend by Lance Stroll standards. Out in Q1, unfortunate to get caught out by Grosjean's incident, but nonetheless, I don't think he'd have made it through into Q2 anyway. But even so, and then this race has just been... he was well off pace in terms of Massa. He's gone back to how he was before he had the podium at Baku and the recent races where he's managed to get up there and score points. He just struggled all race long, and eventually retired with a puncture on the right front wheel. Luckily not to take anyone out in that incident. Ricciardo almost got wiped out by him. But nonetheless, yeah, Stroll, a poor race. Like I say, gone back to how he was before, which is a shame to see because I thought he'd really got stuck in and got something, but clearly the circuit doesn't agree with him. But a poor race by Lance Stroll standards, and Lance Stroll will score 2 points. Next up was Nico Hülkenberg. Stayed out a long time on the soft tyres, a really long time. Pitted, came out and was battling with the 2 Hassers and Gasly and the Williams for, could have been potentially P8. And then his DRS got stuck open, or something on the rear wing certainly failed, and it let the DRS flap remain wide open. And yes, unfortunately, that was game over for Hülkenberg. And that was that. So points were on the cards for Renault once again, and that's really going to bugger their chances of keeping any sort of respect within this Constructors' Championship. I'm not sure what the Championship's like now, but with a Haas double scoring, a Williams another point, it's just points that they're losing out to their rivals. So nonetheless, in a quiet race, a bad race for Nico Hülkenberg really, but not his fault. It was a failure with the car, and I'm going to score him 4 points. I feel that he could have done better in his driving, but you know, at the same time the car let him down as well. Next up was Marcus Ericsson. I can't even be bothered anymore. Ericsson's another one that needs to get off this grid. And I'm going to score him -5 because he crashed. He crashed. I mean, come on, you're racing around on your own for fuck's sake. Why crash? But anyway, he did. He went off. That was it. Game over. And then Sebastian Vettel is disqualified from the cruel wall anyway. All I'm going to say with Vettel is, yes, the championship is over. But the way he did address the crowd and went up onto the pit wall and waved to the crowd and then had interviews and was quite happy to, you know, speak with the fans and things and speak with the team pundits, all nice and, you know, smartly and cleverly and cheery. It was really good to see, actually, because I think I'd have been fairly well pissed off. And I certainly think had that been Hamilton, Hamilton would have not spoken to anyone and he'd just gone home. Or he'd just been putting pictures on Instagram with him with a fucking dog that's got glasses on or something. I don't know. But anyway, all I'm saying is I do commend Vettel for that. He acted in a really professional manner with it. And yeah, it wasn't his fault why he retired. Spark plug issue. That they had come into the grid, once again an issue come into the grid, thought they'd fixed it, they hadn't. That was it, game over after 2-3 laps, I don't know, but anyway, it was out. And Carlos Sainz never completed the first lap, looked just like it was an error, trying to overtake around the outside in the early stages of the race, and just fell off. And it was such a shame to see that Carlos Sainz had that issue there at the end. Of his career with Toro Rosso. He is moving on to Renault now. Would have been nice to see him score some points or at least finish the race for Toro Rosso. He came over the radio and apologised to the team and they went, okay, no problem. And, you know, thank you for the efforts. And that's how much of an impact Toro Rosso's had, you know, and how much he has had on Toro Rosso. It's been a big part of his life. And, yeah, it will be sad to see him leave Toro Rosso, but of course he is moving on to bigger and better things. Hülkenberg and Sainz in that Renault will be a strong lineup. So, for Carlos Sainz, unfortunately, it was your error at the final race in the Toro Rosso, and for that reason, I can only score you 2 points. But we wish you all the best in the coming races with Renault. So, that is everything, guys. The 20 drivers have been rated cruelly. I hope so, anyway. And, yeah, thanks a lot for watching, guys, and thank you so much for the support with the last video at the Malaysian Grand Prix. That was quite incredible, the amount of views that's got and he's still getting. And yeah, I hope it continues, but if it doesn't and if it goes back to its regular, just a couple of hundred viewers, I'm happy with that as well. I really appreciate everyone who watches and tunes into this every week, or every time a Formula 1 race is on. And yeah, thanks so much for the support, guys, it really does mean a lot, and I'll see you again soon. Much love!